But I'm getting better, right?
Yeah, normally we go for the cut, but what you're doing is great.
Okay, I'm trying my hardest. Tommy, I am super excited to be here. This is a little different.
Thank you.
We're going to ask you lots of questions about finance, your views on the investment environment, where inflation's heading. Are you ready for this?
I'll do my best.
Okay. Instead, we're going to have a practice round to start. Quick questions. Number one, favorite golf course?
St. Andrews.
That's a classic.
Yeah, I think it's probably quite a universal answer, but it is my favorite.
Tougher conditions, wind and rain in Scotland or peak Florida heat and humidity?
Oh, wind and rain. I live in Dubai, so the heat's not a problem.
Favorite club in your bag?
I have to say all 14. They're listening, so I have to say all 14.
Who practices more, you or your son Frankie?
I don't have to go to school, so I get a few hours. I get a few hours on him every day.
But he's trying
from that
hard.
point, he's trying his hardest. From that point onwards, it's close. Probably him after the hours of 4 p.m.
Okay, this is the most important practice round question. Did we make the logo big enough of Blackstone on the new hat?
No, never.
We love that. All right, we'll get into the good stuff. As you were growing up, when did you know that you had it and that this was going to be more than just a game you played, that this would be your calling?
I still feel like I'm figuring it out, actually. It's funny how the journey happens. I think I had it as a dream from a very young age, but actually having the confidence or the belief or even the mindset that I could do it. When I finished high school, that was it for me. I decided that I was going to try golf full time. So I sort of backed myself that way when I got to 16. And then I think as time went on, I knew I wanted to turn pro. So then I knew I wanted to make it as like a tour player. And then confidence builds from there. But I'm not sure I ever really had the answer. It just sort of happened. And I look back now and I don't know, you think nothing of it.
It was a good call.
Well, I think so. Like I said, I'm still figuring a lot of things out, and there's still so much I feel like I have to achieve. But it's been great so far.
And when you bring yourself to today, when you do something that you truly love, but now it becomes a job, is it hard to maintain sort of the passion for it, or it's always there? I mean, because you got to wake up, you got to get on that plane. It's harder than just playing a sport for fun.
Yeah, totally. And I think, I guess that's what if you were speaking to a younger player now or an aspiring like junior golfer, like part of the dream is getting on flights. Part of the dream is having a bad Thursday or Friday or, sitting in some restaurant, miles away from home when your family's at home. That is actually all of it is part of the dream. I think it's important to always protect your motivation and have enough things around you that inspire you. I think that's something that I've learned as I've grown up. Like, I still have plenty that I have to achieve that will drive me every day, but every now and again you still need that little push in just certain moments. So I think it's always important to like protect that motivation.
And remind yourself how lucky you are that this is what I get to do.
100%. Like, golf is my favorite thing to do, and to still be in a place where I can still get better at it. Like, my body's still in a place, my mind is still in a place where I'm still learning every day and I can still get better, and that's, it's a beautiful thing.
So talk about the mental part. I imagine it's hard to imagine a sport where you spend 4 or 5 hours over a 4-day period during a tournament, sort of in your own head, dealing with whatever those challenges are, a bad shot. What's going through your mind? Are you just like, I'll focus on the ball? Because everybody faces their own sort of set of challenges, but this feels very isolated from an outside perspective.
Well, I guess it is, and it's funny really, because I think a 5-hour round of golf goes quickly for the one that's playing it. It's a lot of time, and it's a lot of time on your own. And I think golf, more than almost any other sport, has, you talk about being out on the golf course for 5 hours. You might hit 70 shots, all of them shots last a minute. So like there's a large period of time where there's a lot of thought, there's a lot of talking to yourself, or there's a lot of like passing time in how you do it. But I think it's the most challenging mentally for sure, because you can't get over something very quick. You have that time to think about it, and then but also you have that time to reset as well. If something's gone wrong, you have the gift of being able to figure that out by the time you get to the ball. But I think we do everything that any other high performing person would do, but we just have longer to do it. Whether that's good self-talk, being able to bring yourself back to the present moment, whether that be some kind of visualization, whether that be some breathing exercise. We do everything that anybody would do, but we just have that bit more time to do it.
You mentioned moment. There was an article I read, you talked about holding on to moments.
Yeah.
Can you describe that sort of theory?
I did a couple of interviews about it recently, but if you're ever lucky enough to win, you spend the majority of your time in golf. Don't particularly, well, I'm actually not scared of the word failure. I think failure is a great thing, and I think in order to succeed you have to fail over and over again. So never worried about saying failure, but I think you spend the majority of your time in golf not achieving what you want to achieve. But when you do, so you stand there and you have a trophy, or the trophy gets delivered to the home. And my point that I was making was that if there was a trophy stood there right now that I won, it doesn't do that much for me. And it's not like playing it down, or it's not being, I'm not saying that it doesn't matter in any way. But my thing was, whenever I've had a dream or a goal, it's kind of something that I was taught when I started working with a psychologist very young. When I got into England teams, it was words, pictures, emotions. So like I would maybe write a goal down, but it would be a moment that I could picture and I could feel and I could describe, and that would be my goal. It wouldn't be the trophy at the end of it. So, it could be, I can picture myself stood on the 18th green at Royal Birkdale with a 2-shot lead, and I'm stood over a putt now, which is 1 foot, and I'm going to tap it in, and that's me winning the Open. It could be something like that, or it could be.
That's a good vision.
Well, yeah, I mean that's a great vision. I've thought about that one for a long time. If the Masters has only just been, the moment might be the feeling of having some, Rory put the jacket on you from behind, and you can feel it. Like I could actually feel the jacket going on me, and I think those are where my goals come from, and those moments more than, holding a trophy.
So talk to us about the resilience. You've had a lot of success with the Ryder Cup in Europe, but you were 164 tournaments in the PGA before you had this magical moment at the end of last year with your win. What does it take? And I think for so many people, we get frustrated, we give up, we're like, I'm never going to achieve that goal. But there's something special inside of you that just kept going, and you maintain this positive attitude throughout. So what do you attribute that to? What is that special something?
Well, I would say I've been fortunate enough to have enough moments in my career where it's been really low moments. So, leading a tournament, playing the last hole and messing it up and not winning, it's not really that bad. Of course, you want to win, and you will be upset at the fact that you came so close to winning the tournament and achieving something great. But I guess that I've learned to, it's not that I don't feel anything that anybody else wouldn't feel. I will, I'll call myself names, I'll be upset, I'll take my time to have some moments on myself, whatever it may be. I'll look at what I did wrong, and I'll have all those things that play over. But also I think I've learned you have to focus on the good stuff. And in general, when you come so close to something and you don't quite make it, there's been way more good than there's bad. And also, whatever happens, whether you win that tournament or whether something goes great or whether it goes bad, the world's going to keep turning, and you're going to get up the next day, and you're going to have to keep going. So there's no point in making whatever happens a negative experience on what happens next. Sometimes that's easy, sometimes that's hard, but you just have to, in my experience of what I had to do, I just had to make sure that I had the whereabouts to on a Monday when I start practicing again or work again, whatever happened on Sunday will make my Monday better, not worse.
And today, after the win, the success in the Ryder Cup, being in the very top in terms of points and everything, do you feel a different type of pressure now because the expectations are higher?
No, I do think that one of the hardest things for sports people or anybody in life to deal with is your own expectations. I do feel that's always one of the things that you have to manage so much, but also the higher the expectations of other people on you must mean you're doing something right. And I feel like if you can manage to have that take the pressure off, that should only then help you. And it's that's the trick really, because the real tough moments or the real like times where there's real pressure is if your career's on the line or if you're struggling or you have to pay bills and you're not doing it. That's the real pressure, not being at the pinnacle of your career and trying to make it that next step or trying to go even more. So all of that stuff really should be a joy. Like, it shouldn't be a burden to you.
Yeah. And you love this. You love being out there.
Most of the time.
Most of the time. Except when you're stuck doing this.
No, this is my favorite.
So has your mindset around success changed?
Yeah, it probably has. I think, I definitely think as you are a young aspiring athlete, I think you have these images of like all these great golfers or great sportsmen, and they're having all this success or holding trophies and everything like that. And I think for sure, like now, like I think that I am probably very successful to a lot of people, like a lot of golfers, but I'm unsuccessfve to a lot of golfers as well. So it's like, what really is success? And I think I've certainly developed in a certain sense of acceptance for whatever I may achieve in my career, but I value so much the like chasing whatever like my dreams are or my goals. And I do think whether I get to them or not, or whether I achieve them, probably won't define what I see as success. Like I say, because compared to a lot of people, I'm very unsuccessful in a way. But a lot of people would trade places.
I don't think many people see you as unsuccessful.
Well, no, but there's people whose careers that that are a lot better than mine, but mine will be better than others. And it's like I just want to continue to work and chase whatever it is I want. And I would say, as long as I can do that, I would say that's been pretty successful. But I mean, same question to you.
It's interesting. I think success in the investment business when you're younger, it's more, can I get an individual deal done? Can I be successful doing something that advances my career? The further you get along, it's less about you and more, can I help drive the enterprise to be successful? And so that's just the nature of what success is now. Not like I get an individual transaction, but maybe I helped set a direction, or I helped a group of people become more successful to build something. So I think that is definitely a change. And then as I think about it, I'd say the other thing I've learned about success, and it relates probably to your world, is I used to think like, oh, if I get to that rung, like I've made it or whatever. Now it's like, no, there's always, you can always do more. And also there's a recognition that things will go awry. Mm-hmm. So particularly at our firm now, there are just so many things, maybe one part of the business is going great, but another part is facing challenges. And so there's never that sort of all clear moment. There's just always something you can do. And so success to me is like constantly striving to be the very best, being excellent. This is really what Steve Schwarzman has always pushed for, and that never accepting mediocrity or bad outcomes. And so if you have an organization where people feel this collective sense of mission, where you're always striving to do the best, and at times you'll have some setbacks, but you don't accept them, you'll get back up, it's your double bogey moment, like you got to keep going. I think success is definitely, it's more of a moving target, and it's more about an attitude and less about one individual thing.
Yeah, that was a better answer.
So you're known as an incredible team player, and certainly see that in the Ryder Cup. I watched a bit of that. What's it called? The TGL?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Which is a lot of
TGL's great.
which is fun. Do you get energy? You got a silver medal in the Olympics, right? Is there something different about the team sport to you?
It's funny actually, because I do think I looked into this recently, because when you're playing for a team, you end up doing it. You end up playing for something that's more than yourself. It's an unbelievably strong motivating factor, and you end up trying to be the best version of yourself. And if I could carry some of that into an individual performance, like I think there's something there definitely.
There's
to
some
be,
special energy.
I think so, yeah. And I do love the team element. I love trying to be a great teammate, and I love trying to be a good influence. You can never can't always control how you play. And I would never, I look at it, if I have a teammate, I would never want them to feel any pressure on how they play from me. Like all you want is for whoever you're with to try their absolute hardest and just go all in. I would never care how anybody plays. So then I try and put that onto myself and just try and be a good teammate in as many ways possible, and hopefully play well as well.
It brings out your best.
I think it probably does, yeah. I think it does. I think, I've been very lucky to have some amazing Ryder Cup teams, and enjoy playing in those. Had great experiences with great teammates and great captains, and the Olympics, that was very special. I mean, playing for your nation and then standing on an Olympic podium was pretty cool.
Pretty good. A more mundane question. A lot of people watching this travel for business. They find it a grind. They end up in some city. They're exhausted, particularly when they travel globally. This is your job.
Yeah.
Every week, lots of travel, new locations. Do you have any hacks or tips that you find helpful?
I mean, I'm okay spending time on my own. That's always helpful. That's a great question. I enjoy seeing new places. I think sometimes people ask, the best and worst parts of my job as a golfer, and travel is both one of the best and one of the worst. Like, you spend all that time away from your loved ones and your family, and that stuff. But you do get to see the world. I enjoy that side of it. I enjoy seeing different cultures, and you do get to come home to everyone, which is great. Those are beautiful moments that you shouldn't let go or miss. Travel hacks. No, I've never thought about it.
I think your positivity
I'm going to start running.
No. I do think the positivity, if you show up in a place and you're like, hey, I can't believe I'm in this town or this country. If you look at it as, I'm lucky to be here, just sort of thinking about it glass half full. It's what you're describing.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean, I do wish, there's definitely things that I think I did. I wish I'd have journaled all the places that I've gone to. Like, I do write, but I've never journaled, all these little places that you find yourself and restaurants. I wish I'd have been better at that probably since I started traveling, and I think it's a good idea, and then just don't do it anyway.
Well, you could do a podcast on the road with Tommy. It would be very popular.
Well, I'd have one listener in you, John. So
for sure.
There you go. The one listener on the podcast.
Yes. I relate to the idea of being on the road. I mean, there are times when you're half a world away from your family, you're exhausted, you got to go do something, and I can just imagine, like, if you haven't played well on a Thursday, Friday, and you got to go back out there on a Sunday, and you're just like, oh my God. Yeah, to me, that's part of the job, but you try to remind yourself how lucky you are to be doing it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to give 110%. I don't care where I am. I can move from 42nd to 32nd or whatever it is. And I think if you bring that level of positivity, that makes the difference. Because otherwise, it sounds like this can become a real grind.
Yeah, of course. And I think, it happens to, it's a natural thing, I guess, to life has its ups and downs, week to week, day to day, whatever it is. And there's no doubt about it. People struggle on a daily basis, and I think being aware of just trying to have the best attitude possible, because that will be a habit in a way. Like that will have an effect, and even on your worst days, if you can get something out of those, and you just you're not gonna, unfortunately, you're not gonna thrive every day.
No.
I think that's something that you have to get your head around, but try and make the most out of every day, and you can probably go to bed a little bit happier.
And the other thing that's hard in this is the ball can bounce this way. I mean, one little thing, right? The weather conditions when you tee off versus what they were 2 hours earlier, that can make an enormous difference. So much is outside of your control. The only thing you can control is your attitude. Is there anything sort of behind the scenes as a golfer being on the tour that people would be shocked about that's either better or worse?
That's a great question. I think, I mean, you don't always have an amazing bed, that's for sure. Beds and pillows are one of those things. From a sort of technical aspect in golf, I think people would underestimate how many mundane things we actually do during our practice, like how important like fundamentals are, how boring that might be to you. Like you don't think.
It's like practicing free throws if you're an NBA player.
Yeah.
You still have to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, and also, like I think one of the things is no matter how much you practice, when you play so much, like you don't get that much better every day. Like it gets harder and harder to get better. Playing doesn't make you better. Like playing is playing, and then your practice is preparation for playing. So there's like a huge chunk of our lives when you get to a certain level that you also have to accept is like, you can't make massive gains all the time, and then you have form and dips and troughs. So I think it's like you would think just doing it more and more and more would make you better and better, and it's like it gets harder and harder to reach new sort of levels.
And on the interpersonal side, is there pretty good camaraderie amongst the guys? Because you're basically seeing these guys every week.
Yeah, my son's one of my sons picked up on it. It was like he actually really loves the fact that you finish, you play Thursday to Sunday, but you're there Monday, and then everybody kind of gets on a plane on Sunday. Everybody goes their separate ways, and you wake up on Monday, and everybody's in that same completely different place, doing the same thing. Every week.
It's like a movable feast.
It is. It's a movable. It's like just a circus that roams around. But yeah, you see each other, and I think overall, being in a competitive environment as an individual, I think everybody has a very good outlook that we're all trying to do the same thing. We're all trying to achieve the same thing every week, and if you just put yourself in that environment, and if you're open, like you'll have some great conversations with people, and you'll find something that you've never thought of before just by talking to people. And everybody in general is very supportive of each other, and you never know just who might help you get better on any given day.
And the stress and strain that everybody's facing of maintaining families while you have this crazy life.
Yeah, I'm so fortunate to have such an amazing family that are so supportive. My wife's unbelievable. She does everything except hit the golf shots, which is my only task. But yeah, I think it's such an advantage and a bonus to have a great family, because they play such a role in what you do and your comfort levels and putting your life at ease or making it as good as possible. So, I would love to be with my family every day. I don't get that luxury doing what I do, but that is also, I'm also always aware that that's a choice. I'm still chasing my dreams as well. So, having a great family is one of the biggest life skills you can have, for sure.
Oh, it's funny. I watched that. It's Full Swings on Netflix, and there's a great moment with your stepson who was on the golf course
Oscar,
at the very end, and he was describing he was covering his lip because he was so nervous.
Yeah,
he didn't want to be quivering, but that sort of humanity, family connection, that resonates with so many people, and it was just really special to see.
He's a big softie, Oscar. He really is.
So, a couple of things here as we get towards the end. In terms of your reputation and how you think about it, when we were doing our diligence on creating this partnership, the big concern is, are you partnering with an athlete who sort of shares your values? And I mentioned this to you, but every person I called who knew you, knew the golf world, had only unbelievably positive things to say. And obviously, when you read the stuff in the media and everything, you've managed to create this image, in a world where there's so much negativity, somebody who is of high integrity, cares a lot, is generous, self-effacing, is this just something that comes naturally? Do you have to be conscious about this? Because there are moments when you're down where I'm sure it'd be easier to swear or do whatever. How do you think about this?
No, I do always say, like, I was, you know, I would compliment my parents, but my dad always said, you're a person first and a golfer second whenever I was trying to do that. And I think, like, I've always been lucky that I make great connections with people. I guess I'm fortunate in that I've always had a nice outlook on life. But I just think it's important to know. I think if you know what your values are, and who, it's not even necessarily who you are as a person, it's who you want to be as a person as well. And I think if you're always aware of that, I think that guides you through whatever situation you're in. But I think I was just very lucky to be brought up in a way where, I've always tried to be a good person, always tried to be good with people, treat people how you'd want to be treated. And then I get the luxury of playing a game that I love for a living. And believe me, there's plenty of times where I hate the game of golf.
And you're frustrated.
But I always have, overall I have nothing to be angry about or upset about. And I do know sort of who I want to be and what I think a person should be.
Well, I will tell you, probably the key selling item, though, was the fact that your son embodies our core values here at Blackstone. We say every week on Blackstone TV, stay calm, stay positive, never give up. And his clips at the Masters are just unbelievable. He's going to work harder. He's going to keep practicing. That positivity, the anticipation for next year, the pressure on him is probably going to be way too high. But there's something really special about that attitude he brings to it. And you and Claire, I think, should feel very proud yourself as parents.
Yeah, he's done great. All our boys are great. But Frankie, I think it's very cool as well. Like, he's 8 years old, but to have just a single thing of something that like keeps him focused and passionate about, and almost is teaching him lessons throughout it. Like going for the ninth green at Augusta Par 3. Very fortunate. A lot of pressure on him as a little boy, but he absolutely loves the game, and to have like at 8 years old to have like a dream like that, just a moment like we spoke about earlier. I think that's amazing. I love that he gets to chase something like that at an early age, and he's a good boy.
Tommy, unfortunately, we have to bring this to an end. I'm going to go back to investing and leave the talk show host to other people, but
No,
I
you're
would
good.
say, oh, well, thank you. We feel so fortunate to be partners with you. The way you play the game, the way you conduct yourself, it's amazing. And you can know that all your friends here at Blackstone are rooting for you every weekend. So thanks for your time.
No, thank you so much. It's such an honor to be part of the company, so thank you so much.
I'll do one more and then I'm going to let it go. Here we go.
That's good. Ooh. He's got it.
To do that with Tommy here, I'm done. My life
good.
is complete.
I
just put this down.
That was perfect.
I'm good. It's over. All right, you're up.
You're not going to make me go after that, are you?
Yeah, could you imagine? There we go. Yeah.
It's got to be in, right?
Okay,
There you go.
he won. Of course he won. Of course.
It looks very easy.